Hello and welcome to the Net Report podcast, end of NBA season edition. We finally come here, 82 games later, Chris, and the NBA season's over, which it feels like it flew
It's
on by for
playoff
some reason
time.
this year. It's playoff time. Ooh, this time of year is so exciting. And let's kick right off into it with the known matchups that we have. We're going to give you our predictions, the known predictions at least that we can give until we kind of get the play-in tournament going through. But let's just kick right off. Milwaukee has had the number 2 seed for the most part of the season, and last day edition of the NBA, they no longer have the 2 seed. The top 2 seeds in the East are going to go to Boston and New York, so they're going to wait to the play-in tournament to conclude before they find out who they are going to be matched up against. So our first matchup is going to be the number 3 seeded Milwaukee Bucks, who may or may not have Giannis, against the surging Indiana 6 seed Pacers. I'm just going to jump to you. Let's kind of just each give our predictions and let's talk it out.
And for the Bucks, it's been definitely a weird year. They're nowhere near as good as we thought coming into this season. If I'm being honest, I would still pick them probably in about 6, but one interesting nugget for this series is the Pacers won the season series, and it was actually pretty gritty. They had the whole situation with Giannis and the game ball early in the season. I think that was around the in-season tournament, and these games with these two teams have usually been pretty close, so this is, honestly, there's going to be probably a lot of drama in this series. I can't imagine Milwaukee losing in the first round again. The Pacers, they're just young. They don't have the experience yet. It's going to be a common theme for a couple teams throughout this playoff run, but my pick would be probably Milwaukee in 6. It wouldn't surprise me if the Pacers kind of come out and take game 1 because Milwaukee's played down to their competition a lot. So I could see this going 6 or 7, but at the end of the day, I just can't see Milwaukee getting upset again.
I agree with one specific fact that you just said more so than others. I think Indiana does come out and win game 1. I think we're going to see a lot of overreactions like, uh-oh, what's going on, Bucks? I think Indiana is going to win the first game, maybe even the first 2 of 3 games. I think ultimately, though, Milwaukee's going to win this, and I would agree 6. And that's kind of very dependent on Giannis. I think even without Giannis, if Giannis sat out the entire series, I think they can still probably win this in 6. We haven't really seen the same Tyrese Halliburton as the first half of the season as in the second half. He's been better the last month or two, but he's really struggled compared to what he was kind of showing all-star early on in the season. I think if Dame was what he looked like last year, I'd be telling you it's going to be Bucks in 4 or 5, but Dame hasn't really looked as good this season. But the reality of it is Indiana doesn't play defense. Not that the Bucks do either. But come playoff time, this is a team that hasn't been in the playoffs before, this Pacers team. A lot of this Milwaukee team's tried and tested. And the only way I can really see this going sideways is if, in all honesty, Doc does Doc stuff. So I'm just going to say Milwaukee in 6, and we're going to roll from there, I think.
I will say this, though. If Giannis doesn't play, I'm probably not picking them. I'm going under the assumption Giannis plays, and more than likely reports are that he will likely play most of, if not all, this series, but I mean, obviously, losing Giannis, that completely flips the series on its head. So take that going into the series, but he should more than likely be playing.
That is the expectation for sure. Then our 4-5 matchup in the Eastern Conference, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Orlando Magic, 4 and 5 respectively. 4 going to the Cavs, 5 to the Magic. I'll open this one up. I think that this, more so than other matchups, I'm very split on. But I think I'm going to pick the Cavs in 6.
Yeah, to me, this is definitely a toss-up. I think it's very winnable for both sides. Like, a lot of, obviously, the Cavs are going to be the favorite heading in. I think they should be the favorites, and if I had to pick a team, I probably would pick the Cavs, especially because I just feel like Orlando, and this is hard for me to say as an Orlando fan, but they don't match up very well against the bigs. You got Evan Mobley and Jared Allen down there. I mean, you're really going to have a lot of Jonathan Isaac maybe kind of covering one of them. Wendell Carter's just a little short. They're definitely going to get out-rebounded this series. Obviously, that backcourt defense for Cleveland's always suspect, but against a team like Orlando that doesn't typically, they're not going to be shooting lights out. I don't know. I mean, it would take an insane defensive effort from Orlando, so I would probably lean Cleveland as 6 as well, but I it's about 60-40 for me. I could see like 40% chance maybe the Magic win this series, 60% Cleveland. So I'm gonna have to go with Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm going with Cleveland too for the size. I think that what we saw in this last game with the Magic, they really showed their grit and their teeth with how
Hmm.
good they can play defensively.
Yeah, if they're playing
What worries
defense,
me is again oh yeah, I mean if they
if
play
the
defense they played most of the year, this is going to be a
mhm,
series
if
for
they're
sure. The
playing defense
problem
like
is
they
they're
played tonight against the Bucks, whoo man, that they can. I don't want to say they can win any series, but they can win any game in any given series, if that makes sense. Like, obviously, they're not going to play defense like that 4 straight games to win a series, but man, like today they were just on one. And yes, it was against a Bucks team without Giannis, but sometimes they're suffocating.
all comes down to fundamentals on defense, but it's the experience for the Magic. Like they
Mm-hmm.
haven't been here before. Same thing with the Pacers. Excuse
100%.
me. I need to see it before I can really believe in
Mm-hmm.
them.
And it's not like the Cavs
As
either,
much
like, have been super, like,
no,
tried and tested throughout the playoffs, but I do trust them a little bit more because they
they've
have
been
been
there.
here
They've
before.
at least been like Donovan
Mm-hmm.
Mitchell's been to the playoffs. I will say this is the one I'm least like confident on with saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like it could go 8 different ways for this one, but I'm just gonna pick the experience. Like I best player in this series is Donovan Mitchell, and I'm just gonna kind of go with that. If again the Magic, if they kind of go on these runs where they just find lightning in a bottle with they have played perfect defense and they just shoot the lights out of you, like when Paolo and friends get hot together and they're playing defense. And the Cavs have been stumbling a little bit in the past few weeks. Like they don't feel very connected, but still, I just think they're the better team, and I'm going to pick the better team in 6 here.
Yeah, and they're finally getting at least a little like healthier now. It would be honestly pretty disastrous going forward for them if they did lose this series. This is a series they should probably win, and if they don't, man, there's going to
Oh
be
yeah,
real
no,
repercussions.
we can talk about the repercussions come the off season time, but yeah, that would massive ramifications if they don't win this series. In all honesty,
Hmm.
we'll move on to the play-in. The first matchup that we know is going to be the 7 seed 76ers against the 8 seed Miami Heat. It's obviously a 1 game series to move on to be the 7 seed in the playoffs. It's going to be held at Philadelphia, and I'm going to pick Philadelphia to win this game. The expectation is that Joel Embiid will be playing this game. He seemed to get a little hurt in their last game that he played, but I'm just going to pick the 76ers to win this one against the Heat in a 1 game series. They've looked really good, at least collectively, with Embiid back and healthy. I don't know if I'd say he's 100% healthy, but he's playing well, and as a team, they're playing very well. And I'm just going to pick them to be the 7 seed.
Yeah, once Joel Embiid came back, they went on a 5 game winning streak, and honestly, they've looked pretty good since he's been back. You can tell he's not like fully there, but I mean, these tune-up games. I mean, I hate to say it, but you never want a tune-up game to be a play-in game. But they keep discussing this may be beneficial to the 76ers. I mean, as long as they obviously go out and handle business, this can be great for them because they need all the reps they can get. I'm gonna take Philly as well, just because we've seen it, and I hate to say it's just going to be a copy of last year because that's just lazy analysis, but it really feels that way with the Miami Heat. They lost their first playing game last year, and they barely won the next one, and then they went on that crazy run. I don't see it with Miami, but it's a 1 game. It's a 1 game series. Anything can happen. I'm gonna go with my gut and say the 76ers and Joel Embiid take it, though.
I'll also say I think the pressure is more on Philadelphia to win this
100%.
game more so than Miami. Miami, I think, will go into any series, specifically if they get the 8 seed and play Boston. They'll go into that series cocky and confident because, of course, they would. They've
Mm,
been there, done that with the Celtics, and specifically last year against the 1-8 matchup. I think Philadelphia is in more danger of getting bounced in the first round if they get matched up against Boston, and they have a better chance of beating New York than I think they would Boston. So I think they're going to feel more urgency to
mhm.
kind of get that first win, especially since they'll have this one at home. And not to say that Miami won't want to win. Of course they will, because then they're 1 game from elimination. But I think the urgency is there more so with Philadelphia in this game.
And if I'm being 100% honest, both teams should be treating this with the utmost urgency just because, look, a Boston matchup in the first round is basically a death sentence. They've been the best team all year, and I mean, the Knicks, especially now, they're not going to have Julius Randle back. They're very beatable, even as a 7th seed underdog. I would much rather draw that in the first round.
Some point,
Obviously,
Jalen Brunson's just gonna run out of steam. Like he's
mhm.
not gonna stay this hot forever because the entire workload's on him right now. It feels like.
It's not even that. I think he can handle it because he handled it pretty well in that Heat series last year too. It's just, man, it's the rest of the team. I mean, there's nights where they just don't shoot well. There's not enough help, and I really thought maybe getting Julius Randle back would be huge for them, and obviously that's not going to happen. It's unfortunate for them. They've still been very good even without Randall most of the season, honestly, it feels like. And OG's been in and out. Mitchell Robinson wasn't there for almost all the season. So I don't want to discount them. I don't want to seem like I'm discrediting everything they've done. It's just, look, man, Boston's insane this year. I mean, if you're asking me which one I'd rather face as Miami or Philly, it's not even a question.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. But we'll see with that one. Obviously, the winner or the loser of that one will end up facing the winner of the 9-10 play-in, Chicago Atlanta. I mean, I don't care. I think Chicago wins this game only because playoff DeMar is a thing. But who cares?
They did the
I
same thing
mean,
last year, and for about 5 minutes we thought they would knock off the Heat and get the 8th seed, but that of course never happened. Maybe history repeats itself again. They get to play the Heat in an 8-9 matchup.
I'm gonna be very
Woohoo!
honest with you. I will not watch this match. I will not watch this game. I have literally no. I don't care. Like, who cares?
I don't even think the fans care,
There's no shot.
unfortunately.
There's no shot either of these teams beats Miami or Philadelphia. I've never been more confident with anything in my
Mhm.
entire life.
I don't want to say no shot because a 1 game series really can mean anything, but like if they do, they're just gonna play Boston and get swept. Maybe gentlemen swept if they're lucky. And this has been a heavily debated topic over the last couple weeks, and I kind of completely agree with it. It was shown in the bubble. There really should be a limit to where the play-in gets triggered. Like, as of right
Gotta be
now, the
500.
Chicago Bulls, it's not even that. The Chicago Bulls are 7 games behind the Miami Heat. And the Atlanta Hawks are 10 games behind the Miami
Yeah.
Heat. Why should each of them get a chance to play the Miami Heat, who have been really good this season? I mean, obviously not to expectations, but they're still 46 and 36. Why is a team that's 39 and 43 and 36 and 46 getting a chance to knock them out in a 1 game series? That just doesn't seem very fair. People have been talking maybe 3 or 4 games, be the cutoff mark, but I don't know. That's a topic for another day, but just figured I'd bring that up because it has been going around discourse circles, NBA discourse circles.
Another topic for another day, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
But we move on to the Western Conference. The Oklahoma City Thunder nabbed the 1 seed. Denver Nuggets nabbed the 2 seed. So they're going to wait on their opponents after the play-in tournament in the West gets taken care of. So our first known matchup will be the 3 seed Timberwolves against the 6 seed Phoenix Suns. And I'm struggling with this one.
Cat is now back healthy, which is huge.
Do you have an immediate answer for this one while I think on it?
Whew, man. I'm probably going Timberwolves in 6. But if it gets to a game 7, I could see Phoenix definitely pulling this out. This is like 51-49. I haven't seen enough consistency from the Suns to where I'm like 100% yeah, I'm going to pick them. I've at least seen the defensive suffocation from Minnesota all year. And defense wins championships in the playoffs. I mean, I'm going to go with Minnesota. I don't feel very good about it. I mean, they're going to have
I'm
home
going to
court
say
advantage.
Minnesota in 7.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree. It's the defense and the fact that they were able to stay atop. Like, they were in contention for the 1 seed up until the last day of the season. When Cat went down, we were like, oh, they're about to plummet to the 4 or 5 seed. And this team stayed in it. Like, they
Mm-hmm.
stayed in that mix for the 1 seed through the end of the season. So they've got grit to them. I think they're coming in with some swagger. Like, I think they feel like they're being undervalued. Obviously, the one thing can Rudy Gobert not be a liability come playoff time, like we've seen in previous iterations of him in the playoffs. Obviously, the Phoenix Suns have no defense. They have no depth. They have no defense. Something that Minnesota has a abundance of.
It's going to be a tale of two teams, honestly. A tale of two different play styles. And
I agree.
I mean,
The Suns, just the reality are they're going to have to outscore you. Like, that's
mhm.
just the blatant. If there's a gritty game, Minnesota's winning. If it turns into a shoot 'em out, the Phoenix Suns are probably going to win those games. So I'm going to pick Minnesota in 7. But like you said, this one, and I'm going to be honest, our next matchup, the same thing. It's 51-49.
Mm-hmm. This one's tough.
But
I don't mind going first if you need a moment because I kind of got who I think.
no, I know where I'm going with this one, but I'm going to put a caveat on it.
Mm-hmm.
The 4 seed goes to the Clippers, 5 to Dallas. I'm going to say Clippers in 7 with the expectation Kawhi's healthy.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Kawhi's not healthy.
Scratch
Dallas in
everything.
5.
Mm-hmm. I can't
It's
believe.
Dallas in 5 if Kawhi's not healthy. If Kawhi's healthy, though, I have them in 7. And again, that one's like 50.001 49.999 because
I can't believe I'm gonna say this. I think I have Dallas in 6 or 7. I don't want to say a certain number because honestly, it's really tough. I just Dallas has been on the rise over the past 20 games. And the Clippers have kind of fallen off, and they were honestly, we talked about it in our rankings after NBA All-Star weekend. This was a team we thought like for sure was going to the final, or not the finals, but like Western Conference Finals,
our
like
big
them in
dark horse,
Denver.
yeah.
And it's kind of fallen off since then, and maybe I'm overreacting, but man, it's tough. And
I still see it happening.
mm-hmm,
It's again no Kawhi though.
mm-hmm.
Chalk it, just straight chalk it.
Oh,
There's like
100%.
you're not the way Luka and Kyrie have been playing together. There's if you don't have your best defender on at least one of them, he's gonna be on Luka more than likely. What the hell are you supposed to do? Like
Mm-hmm.
individually, either of those guys can win you a game. Just give each of them one win off the bat. That's 2 wins right there for them. If you don't have Kawhi to stop them, the other 5, cut your losses.
I will say this. My mind is telling me Clippers. My gut's telling me Dallas. And it's hard to know which one to go with there, but we'll see, man. This is literally as close as you can get. And honestly, it feels unfair that both of these teams drew this matchup in the first round because my
4 or
goodness.
5 matchup always seems like the weirdest one.
Mm-hmm. It's insane. I mean, we've seen it a couple times now. I think we saw it in the bubble, and I think we saw it either the year after that as well. Clippers took both series, but it's always a show with these two teams, and I think Dallas is just a lot more improved. I mean, yeah, the Clippers are too. I don't want to. This is gonna be a series. Hey, don't kill me. Don't kill me.
This will be a fun one. This will
Mhm.
be a fun one.
Definitely.
I really do think.
Don't kill anyone for their predictions on this one because this is as hard as it gets predicting wise.
Yeah, I would agree. This is the one that I'm still dead set on the Clippers with Kawhi, but man, I'll be struggling the entire series. It's like, am I really sure about that? Like, damn, Luka's just killing it. And yeah, there's kind of some bad blood between these teams, but we'll move on to the play-in, and this actually is an interesting play-in comparatively to the East. The 7-8 matchup ends up being New Orleans and Lakers. I think it's going to be the Lakers to win this game, and we're going to get a Denver Lakers first-round matchup.
I'm probably going Lakers as well with this one, and the commentators mentioned it a lot during the game. We saw the exact same thing last year where, like, Zion kind of came up short. They just kind of got ramrodded. And I don't know, this Lakers team kind of, in important games, because it happened today, it happened last year in the play-in, they just had their number in these types of games. And, of course, it's always hard to beat the same team twice in a row. I don't want to get that misconstrued. And it's just, man, I've seen it already, and I don't know, man. I gotta see Zion.
The reality of it
see
is,
Zion prove me wrong.
1-game series. Give me LeBron.
No, and that's 100%. I feel that. I don't know. I mean, this Pelicans team has all the talent in the world. Sometimes it's just not meshing when it matters most.
I think the Lakers want the Nuggets too. Like, there's been all this like fight since the end of last season when they got swept. It's like
I will say this. This is the hater in me talking a little bit, but the winner of this game is really the real loser because Denver's gonna whoop whoever comes out of here. Like, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, 100%.
The winner's the loser. So, I mean, if you
I 100% agree.
Like, if the Lakers somehow lost this game and got the 8th seed, like against Sacramento or Golden State, I think there's still a chance against OKC. I don't think there's a chance against Denver, but
oh God, no. God, no.
We'll
I
see.
100% agree with that analysis, but I still think the Lakers get this one.
Hmm.
As far as then our 9-10, Sacramento fell all the way to 9, which is crazy. Golden
Hmm.
State 10. This one,
Rematch of last year's first round matchup, which is kind of crazy.
that's true. That is crazy to think about. Man, oh, poor Kings fans. I'm gonna pick Golden State in this game.
Yeah, unfortunately, same here.
Sacramento's just
I
been
just feel like
balling.
Sacramento's been on the downswing. Golden State's been on the upswing. And if you're talking for a 1 game series, like it'd be maybe a little different if it was a 7 game series. But for a 1 game series, give me the team that has Steph and Clay on it because they can shoot you out the building. I mean, they can also shoot themselves out the building, don't get me wrong. But they've just been a lot better as of late. Do I think they're going to make this crazy run in the playoffs? Heck no. But
Yeah, I would
it's.
pick Golden State to win that
Mhm.
game. And then it comes down to Golden State Pelicans. That one I'm really, really, really struggling with.
And we can
God,
we can save that for we can save that for when the actual results come about if you want.
I just have no faith in Golden State like that.
Hmm.
Like I think they beat the Kings because I'm more concerned about the Kings than anyone in this West play-in. But like I don't want to discredit the Pelicans. Like they have been playing awesome basketball. Like outside of that last couple of games, like Zion has been
Hmm. And they've
insane.
stayed afloat without Brandon Ingram, which is huge.
I wouldn't say stayed afloat. They dropped to the play-in,
No, I mean
but
they didn't
like
fall. They
there
didn't
was a
fall like
real
the
time.
Kings,
There was a time that we're like, oh shoot, they might be the 4 seed, but now they're all the way. I mean, I guess it's only a two game separation, which is insane to think about. But my immediate reaction is that New Orleans would win that matchup against the Golden State Warriors if it
Mhm.
ended up being the two of them in the second playoff game or play-in game.
Yeah, it's another one I'm like 50-50 on just because it's a 1 game series, but I'd probably take Golden State given that if the Pelicans ended up winning, not surprised at all because they've been great all season. It would be hard for me to also see them losing 2 playing games in a row.
That and I don't trust Golden State to win two playing games in a row. Like
Hmm.
the way they've been playing all season, it just kind of feels like their story is written. Like this season just feels like a lost season for them. Also, just for reasons, I kind of want OKC to get New Orleans and not Golden State. Like get
You don't want that
the
added
Thunder getting
pressure.
okay. No, I just it was like when the Kings got them last year, bro. Like I'm like, no, why did they have to get a team like that of all teams? Like,
Hmm.
come on, 2 seed Kings didn't deserve
Let
that.
the young team shine, man.
And then let's just end it with this real quick. We have our 4 top 2 seeds in the Western and Eastern Conference: OKC and Denver and out west, Boston, New York out east. We don't know their for sure matches, but let me just pose this for you.
Hmm.
Who's most likely to get bounced of those 4 teams?
Ooh,
Say
okay.
Boston, and I'm sending you to the moon.
It's not Boston, although there will be some scared Boston fans when
They're
they
gonna lose.
inevitably
They're
have
gonna
to
lose
play
the first
Miami.
game to the Heat.
They'll lose the first
They're gonna
game,
lose the
and
first game.
Twitter will lose its mind. But
Twitter will lose its mind. Boston's gonna
Boston,
be
yeah.
underground. It's gonna be underground.
I will say this, like we mentioned, OKC. I'm not 100% sure if they end up facing the Lakers, but I still would pick them given most things. Honestly, the one team I could see getting bounced is New York just because having to play Philly in that first round can be scary. We mentioned it a little bit earlier, and if I had to pick one team to probably get upset for the first two seeds, it's New York. I hate to say it like that, but take these 4 teams in a vacuum. Which one kind of doesn't belong? It's New York. Not even trying to be rude. It just
It
is.
has nothing to do with their season either. They've had an incredible season. It's the fact that Randall's just not going to be back at all. And not to just credit, like, Jalen Brunson has been playing nuclear crazy the past few weeks. Like, nuclear crazy. How long can he keep it up, though? When you
Hmm.
go to the playoffs, that kind of stuff shrinks because they can put more focus and attention on you. If you don't have those other big guys like Randall and OG to keep eyes on, all eyes are on you, Jalen. I think he's still going to perform. Don't get me wrong,
And
but he's going to run out of
I also
steam. I
don't
think.
see anyone from Philly being able to stop him. But on the inverse, who's gonna stop Embiid? Nobody.
Yeah, with no Randall, Robinson's been back obviously.
You're asking a
from
lot
that
from this New
standpoint,
York
only
team.
because I kind of have an idea who New York's going to play. Like, it's down to 2 teams for New York,
Mhm,
whereas OKC might be my number 2 team maybe to be upset. If OKC gets anyone but the Lakers, I would say.
I would
I'm
say
confident they
100%
win.
win. Well,
I'm
95.
confident. It might go 7. It might go 6 or 7 with most of them. But if they get the Lakers, I still think they can and should win. That would just be something. Like,
Mhm.
I can just
It'd
see it
be it'd be the
now.
Grizzlies. It'd be the Grizzlies series all over again, like last year. So
Yep. Yep. And I cannot believe we lost Jaw and the Grizzlies and De'Aaron Fox's Kings in the first round last year.
that's
That
the
was
West, man. We're gonna end up losing this year. One
gonna
of
be worse. It's
either
gonna be
the
even worse
Clippers or
next
Dallas, and
year.
then one of the Suns or Minnesota. Like
The West is
the West is
brutal. It's
unfair.
gonna
And
get worse.
then to like upset West fans even more, one of Cleveland or Orlando is gonna get to advance to the second round. So just a
Like,
poor little something.
to inevitably most likely play the Boston Celtics.
Yep. Yep.
The
So
Celtics, I'm sorry. The second round matchup is the least of my concerns as a Celtics fan.
yeah.
It's like first round, okay, maybe we have a 5-6 game challenge there. Second round, not concerned about at all.
Hey man, respect Orlando. When we win game one and have y'all
We've
scared,
had your number this year.
nah, we've had your
There's
numbers in the
no
past.
shot. I'm calling it right now. There's no shot y'all take a game on us in the
Nah,
second
chill.
round.
Come on,
If y'all make it.
chill. Now one game. Now you're being
Boston is
disrespectful.
that
Now you're
good.
being
Boston is
disrespectful.
Boston is dead ass that good.
Nah, to say there's no shot they
If
win
they
a
play,
game,
if
that's
they play to their
disrespectful.
capabilities, like I've seen them all season, there's no shot.
Hey
I'm gonna
man,
be
that's
honest
the
with you.
biggest thing. That's the
If we
biggest
play
thing with
like we
Boston.
should, it should be a cupcake walk to the finals.
It should be, but I mean,
Because
all
the
I'm gonna
East
say
is
is
in
Boston's.
shambles right now.
No, it should be a cupcake walk for Boston, but all I'm gonna say is Boston has this tendency to choke at the worst times. We've seen it in the
New
past.
team,
So
the new team. We have new
it is a new
leaders.
team, but I'm just saying. I
We'll
mean, we've
see.
seen.
You're right. You know what? Just like I said with the Magic and the Pacers, I have to see it first. I
Mhm.
got you there. I'll believe it. You're right. But my expectation and what I think will happen is the Celtics, I think, are going to roll through the East.
They should. They absolutely should. But
All
I
right.
mean, there's
Right
nuggets like
now,
the Hawks
even though
games
we're
that
both going to
scare
have,
me.
even though we're both going to have the same answer, finals matchup.
Yeah, it's gonna be the most boring answer ever. Everyone's gonna get so mad.
I know.
And I had this conversation in a group chat earlier. It's Celtics Nuggets. Like I don't see
Nuggets.
how it's not
I
that.
know.
I'm
The reality is, if any series is one game elimination, all bets are off. But take the Nuggets in a vacuum, 7 games, you're telling me that you're going to find a weakness 4 times out of 7 to beat Jokic. No.
the thing is
Sorry.
too. The ironic thing is too, and this is gonna make me sound crazy because I know I picked the Mavericks over them. The only team I could see taking Denver to 7 is the Clippers. Like any other team, just matchup wise, I don't see it happening.
No, it's
Like
just not
I can
happening.
see maybe
None of these other
OKC
teams,
taking them 6, but you know,
outside of the Timberwolves, no team in the West has the defense to take care of what the Nuggets can do. And the problem with that is they don't have the offense to overpower the Nuggets either.
that's why I think the
Like,
Clippers are like that kind of perfect balance. Whereas, like, obviously, guys like Kawhi and PG, they're kind of, I don't want to say coasting off their reputation because they're still great defenders, but, you know, they got the offensive firepower. They still got good defense in spots there. It's the closest team, man. It's the closest team.
I agree. Because the reality is, you're not going to out-defend them. You're not going to out-maneuver them. You're just going to have to outscore Denver, is the reality. With Boston, it's different because you don't really know what to expect most games. It's like, are they going to shoot themselves in the foot? Like, who knows? It's a roll of the dice. But I've seen a lot of the tendencies they've had in the playoffs kind of diminish this season. It just feels like people want to discredit the Celtics. I think they look for reasons to discredit. 14 games ahead of the next closest competitor is insane margin to have. So I agree that it's going to be Celtics and Nuggets, and I don't even know where my head would be at with that matchup predictions. But man, I am, whoo-wee,
And
I am
we'll
excited for
come
these
back. We'll come
playoffs.
back once we get the actual playoff like set in stone first round, and we'll make predictions again just to kind of tackle those series that we didn't get to fully make
Yeah, the
predictions on.
play-in.
But yeah, I mean these playoffs they're going to be crazy fun to watch, and a lot of these matchups are honestly dream matchups for the first round. It's going to be a ton of fun.
And the last time Chris's Magic were in the playoffs, they won Game 1 against the Bucks.
Yeah, and then the year before that, we won Game 1 against the Raptors. So basically, Game 1 Magic, you want to unload all your cash, bet on them Game 1. Don't bet on them the rest of the
Hey,
series, but Game 1.
remember what happened after they won Game 1 against the Bucks?
Yeah,
I do.
that's why I said only bet on Game 1. Don't bet the rest of the don't bet the rest of the series.
Didn't they get reverse swept after that?
Hey man, didn't you get beat down by the Heat last year?
Anyways,
Yeah.
I'm James Young's long lost son, Jacob Kelly. You can find me at X at Jacob with a K _ Kelly USF. This is my co-host Christopher. He is a Magic fan. He will not be making it out of the first round of the playoffs, and if he does, he's going to get swept by the Celtics.
Definitely not true, but yep, my name's Chris. You can find me on Twitter /XSC_Rod223. Thank you for tuning in and listening to our playoff predictions. Let us know your playoff predictions down in the comments below. Thank you for tuning in.
Oh, and shout out Jamar. I know you're going to be mad that we picked your Knicks to lose in the first round. Sorry,
He'll be okay. Thank you for tuning in as always, and have a great one.